Alright. Let's actually turn this around this way. I'm glad to finally get this open because the contents of it have not been the most stable. They're kind of like that. Like that. Is this week's update? Nope. We got another one. So, big update this week. Come on. Open it. Let's put that one in there, because... Oh, yeah. Okay. And this is not a short pile at all. But we're going to do that and start with Wonder Egg Priority, which I get the impression this should be a priority based on the words of things people said to me on the Discord. I'm definitely curious. They kind of look like an interesting... Couple is the word that pops to mind, but I don't want to say relationship-wise. Let's see. Unlock the Wonder Egg with this limited edition. Behind a magical world lurks a dark reality. That sounds ominous. Oh look, they all have Wonder Eggs. That's very, very ominous. Looking at this, I see it's regions A and B. I see there's an English dub. Then if we look on the side here, and I just want to make sure I'm not seeing anything that says this is a season 1. This is the complete season. So let's take a peek. I was just thinking if that was a plus or not. This is a Blu-ray DVD release. Okay, good. See everybody lying down. This reminds me of Paranoia Agent. That's a good thing. And that's a pretty good series to be thought of. I do kind of like the character designs. Like, I'm still not 100% sure if this is guy or girl. If somebody told me this was an effeminate guy, I could believe that. That is a very captivating person. Most likely also girl, but I'll be honest, I don't really know what this... Well, okay. Well, if I flatten that out, maybe I can get it back in there. Ooh. Ah, yes, and then I was thinking, now we're done with this, but oh no, this was a limited edition release, so we also have... Oh, I didn't recognize the heterochondria? The multicolored eyes things, which begins with H, and it's maybe something like hetero, something or the other. I don't pretend to be a master of the English language. 4 enamel pins, 5 art cards, chibi sticker set, and a partridge in a pear tree. That feels like all the things, so let's take a peek. Oh. These are pins. Those are very scary looking. Mostly because Wonder Egg makes me think there's something important about the eggs, and I get a... Even though none of this imagery looks like it, I was thinking, you know, her face just keeps captivating me, and I don't know why. It looks like a forced smile to a certain degree. Oh god, I'm creeping myself out by thinking about it too much. What in the world is this series? These are interesting images. There's some stickers there. Huh. It's a good thing I got the limited edition version, mostly because I've been really super lazy about ordering anime. So I keep like pre-ordering stuff not a month in advance like I used to. I don't have any reason I'm doing that other than the fact that I'm just being lazy. This one, you know, kind of caught my attention. It's got a sticker, and we're trying to take it off to take a look at this sexy dragon form. Maybe? I don't know. Dragon goes house hunting. Complete season. If you take a peek. Own the popular slice of life fantasy series that's moved into everyone's hearts. I mean, it looks nice. Regions A and B. English dub. Nothing different underneath the slip cover. You know, other than this plastic that needs to come off. This plastic is being a little annoying. I'm going to put this on the table instead of throwing it on the floor. Just because it'll make it easier to find again. Okay, 12 episodes. Dragon. Characters. So is this dragon just a dragon, or does this transform into that person? Which I wondered if this was a dragon girl thing. But then what the hell is that? Is that a clown? I can't really tell from this distance. I'm curious. Because maybe these are 3 separate characters. But I don't know what that means then. Show by Rock. Stars? I don't know how far behind on Show by Rock I am or am not. Because this doesn't say it's like season 2 or season 3, and I feel like it's been a billion years since I last watched it. All-Star Battle of the Bands. Regions A and B. English dub. Alright. Back in here. Oh yeah, those are anime characters. That one I'm thinking might be our main cat girl from the first season. No, her. She was the main character of the first season. I know the other characters were important, but anyways. Mushibugyo. Which I don't know what to think about this. Other than the fact that it's being a little tricky to start the puncturing of that plastic, so let's get in there and get aggressive. Oh, did I look at the back? That's region A only, okay. Japanese with English subtitles only. Good to know. Learning Bushido, mastering the sword. Fighting giant insects. I got the impression it was very insecty. Okay, I thought I had a loose disc. What the fuck? Okay, we got the guy with the sword there. And a lady, maybe? Showing off boobs, unless it's supposed to be pecs, but I'm guessing boobies. That actually looks very fascinating. Huh. I don't know what to think about this show. It's a curious looking thing. But let's keep going. This is the complete series, or the complete season. That's actually the title there. Hypnosis Mic? Hypnosis Mic, okay. I see a region A and B, but this one, it looks like it's Japanese with English subtitles only. processing this a little bit more because he looked kind of like a girl initially. I think because that color scheme reminded me vaguely of maybe a couple of other anime. Maybe also reminded me of High Guardian Spice a little bit. Although I've not seen that, but I've seen some reviews on it, so I'm not likely to watch it. That's right, we already looked at the back. Yeah, then we've got characters, bands, various bands. This is a battle of the bands sort of thing. That's what it seems like. Next up, we have Cat's Eye, the complete first season on Blu-ray. The series has come a long way. I remember some of the rarest anime DVDs out there being the made-to-order ones from, what's they're called? And their 3 series were Cat's Eye, Super Dimensional something, Orgus, and the last one that's not out. Sorry, my friends are getting their Wordle stuff done. And their Wordle and their, well, Scholardle isn't out yet, but they've got a couple of things, and I don't do all the things. Just Wordle and Scholardle. I'm pretty sure I'm not pronouncing that right, but I don't think there's a right. Anyways, Cat's Eye, now on Blu-ray. Next up, we have a Lupin the Third, Episode 0, First Contact. I'm just guessing I didn't have this on Blu-ray, so here I have it on Blu-ray now. There we go. Just need to get the plastic started. Let's go. I didn't look at the back of this one. Audio is Japanese with English subtitles only. This one, it looks like there's English. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Some Lupin Third stuff did get dubbed. And as is traditional with the Lupin releases, there's a kind of full poster thing there. Oof. There we go. Next up, we have Sorceress Stabber Orphen. Battle of Kimluck. This is Season 2 according to that. Oh, forgot to look at the back. The Series regions A+B. English dub. The curtain falls on all sorcerers. I do remember getting the general impression, like, I remembered something from the old version of the Orphen implementation. I remember getting the impression, I don't remember the timeline of things in the old Orphen, but maybe, just maybe, it stretched out a concept that was only the beginning of things in the manga or the anime, and this had the full thing, but something about the way it started was not quite what I needed for a series to start. And there's still some Gundam plastic right there. But yeah, we got our 2 discs. And, you know, relatively straightforward insert. Let's put this back. Excuse me. Still going. City Hunter 91 on Blu-ray. For a lot of these ones, I'm mostly assuming that I don't have them on Blu-ray. I could be mistaken, but I'm assuming. Alright. This one, Japanese with English subtitles only. Different on the insert. Yeah, cool. So we have that main picture and that Blu-ray disc. Whoa, something in there didn't sound like it went in right, so we'll go from the top to the bottom like that. Next up, we actually have a Konosuba complete season and OVA. I decided to get the steelbook. And this is the steelbook, so this isn't a completely new thing, but, you know, Konosuba on steelbook. I'm noticing that this outside wrap is making it kind of hard to take out. I see English dub. It would be surprising if it wasn't. This is Discotex released. Okay, yeah. Region A only. You know what? That's a little warped, but oh well. I might not keep it. Okay, you know, pretty straightforward, but there's your steelbook collector's version of Konosuba. The modern classic. Next up, Miss Pepperpot, which I didn't think was Japanese, but I looked and it is, so I think this counts as anime. An art style that's not very common in anime. Well, that looks a little more so, but yeah. Not a lot of this other stuff, which is interesting. Audio, I see English and Japanese. Shrinks to the size of a teeth. Fortunately, when it happens, she can talk to animals. Maybe some people grew up on this one. I didn't. Is the camera focusing? Focus. Well, I guess it's not focusing. Maybe because this here is getting just too tall or something for it all? I don't know. Unfortunately, I'm looking through the viewfinder and I can only see so much. And then finally there's Laws of the Universe, The Age of Elohim, which I do believe is also one of those things. Is this actually anime? Oh, I guess it is. So I'm getting it. And, you know, I'm going with a definition of something. I mean, it's basically going to mean something Japanese. It's not like there's other animations that aren't cool. You know, you don't have to be Japanese to be cool. It's just that, you know, the word kind of implies Japanese animations because that's kind of the birthplace of where that sort of stuff came from. But this is from somebody else called Random. I do believe there was a Japanese track, which is why I'm like, yeah, I guess this is anime. That's a strange one. Alright. Here's this week's anime DVD collection update. Alright, with my Friday friend finally back in town, we resumed watching Reincarnated as a Slime Season 2. And obviously we didn't watch the Blu-ray, we're watching it off of Crunchyroll, which means we may be ahead of what's actually on here. Probably says right there. But, yeah, because this is Season 2, Disc 1, or Part 1. And let's see. Okay, what did we watch? We watched episodes 37 through 41. That's 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. Only 5 episodes. Wow. I think our hope is to maybe try and get 6 or 7 in next time and completely finish Season 2. I like where it's been. Like, I kind of mentioned during Season 2, Part 1, you know, that first half of it, which is actually technically what I think we finished watching last time. There's some parts of it that felt like it was a bit slowed down compared to, like, the first season. Maybe a little time wasty, but I feel like it feels better. Now, maybe it's just that I took a break from it. I don't really know. But I kind of feel like it's been interesting. It hasn't been particularly fast, but it has had neat moments happening to it, basically. I could actually go back and rewatch a couple of those scenes. They were pretty neat. Which is a good thing, you know. It's a good thing if an anime can kind of leave that sort of, oh, I kind of want to go back and watch that. That's usually a sign of a really good show. And I felt like at least the second half of season 2 seemed to have some of that going on for it. So, good job, Slime. I'm definitely curious to see where it's going to go. It hasn't been particularly action-y for these handful of episodes, but it did feel like it was a resolution of the stuff that did happen over the course of the last one, and it felt like a much-needed breather, in my opinion. Other people may have a different opinion, but, you know, that's fine. Let's see. So next up, you know, I got the nice list over there. I started watching Aharon-san wa Hakarenai. I've only seen the first 2 episodes of it. There's more of it that I could watch, and it was a very... I'm not sure if wholesome is exactly the right word, but kind of maybe a little wholesome slice of life thing that I thought was very effective. I could see why people rated it very highly. Episode 2 could have been, but I don't really like the tall girl. She's a little... I don't know. They try to play it off as her being cute, and while she isn't doing anything to outright hurt our main character per se, I really don't like people that are divorced from reality. And I guess maybe some elements of the first episode kind of felt a little bit like that, but it wasn't enough for me to really notice it. It was just the tall girl in episode 2. And it probably gets better after that, but, you know, those are just what I happen to watch, and I was watching stuff based on what I feel like watching next, so that didn't quite happen. I gave the series World Break Arya of Curse for a holy... probably sword. I don't know, the title cut off because it's too long. I gave it 2 episodes. I kind of didn't expect too much of it, but I liked at least the general premise, and I wanted to see how they executed the general premise. Because it's like, I guess the idea is you have this school for saviors to be trained at, and saviors are people who remember past life, and because they remember that past life, they either have one power or the other power, but our main character is the only one to actually have both powers. I'm like, okay, that sounds like an interesting concept. It doesn't rate too well. It's not necessarily bad, so let me watch it to see what I can feel about it. And 2 episodes in, I'm okay with not continuing on it. It's not that it's necessarily bad from there, but I can kind of see why it didn't rate highly. And I guess I kind of felt that same resonance as well. The main problem as I saw it, they introduced this problem called the metaphysicals, which I misread as metaphysicist, which was kind of funny. I was like, oh, gotta be careful. Those metaphysicists and Gordon Freeman will kick your fucking ass. Although he was maybe less of a metaphysicist. Well, I don't remember what he was. A physicist of some sort. But, no. It's... Well, that's kind of the big problem, is it... You do pick up that that's the problem, but you don't learn the rules of the universe that our characters are engaging in. And that doesn't work too well, because... You know, you have the inciting incident, which is we, the audience, learn that, but that's when they decide to also do the thing with the power in a way that's wrong, because they've introduced too much of the series by that point, and the other characters are interacting, and while it's impressive, it feels like it's missing that important link where you're like, okay, well, here's the rules. Instead of being told as they're happening what the fundamental problem is that they're trying to deal with, you know, build it up. Like Evangelion as an example, very first episode, you see all these crafts attacking this angel, and they're just unable to dent it, so they, you know, blow it up with the biggest explosion they got, and it's like, oh, well, that just slowed it down a little. It's just sitting there, growing a second head for some reason. And none of that was supposed to be, okay, here's our main character's interaction with them. That was introducing us to the rules of their thing. And even though there's some interesting dilemma to that rule in that one, it still works because we know the rules of engagement. We understand everything. Instead, and I think that's a problem with World Break, is it jumps into things too quickly. Like almost absolutely everything. The characters, the way they're introduced, a little too quick.
I've known some shows that have felt quick and they turned out okay. Like, I remember The Girl Who Leapt Through Space kind of being, well, that's going through introductions rather fast there, but I felt like it did more to build things up than World Break is, so it's got that weakness going for it. But, you know, I wanted to see how they played around with the main mechanic before I'm like, okay, that's why people don't like it. I'll maybe drop it. I mean, I might watch more, but it's probably very unlikely. There's a lot of other really great stuff. The next one was another interesting one. It's Peach Boy Riverside. And it's interesting because it's rated badly, and I could read the reviews and understand at a high level why that is, and I'm like, I still kind of feel like watching it just to kind of see the train wreck for my own sake. And it's really interesting because if it was just the first 2 episodes, you'd probably be saying, holy shit, this is awesome. I can't wait to see more of it. And then episode 3 is like, oh, that's why it's not rated so well. Because it does seem to be missing some fundamental storytelling stuff. And it sounds like some of the problem is that the director decided to tell things out of chronological order. It's not the first anime to ever do that. And I think the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya was generally good for how it did some of that stuff, maybe. I don't really know for certain because I only ever watched it in chronological order. At least as the seasons came out. But, yeah, Lucky Star commented on one of the episodes of The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, which is kind of funny. So I can't comment on the out of chronological order for that one too well. It just is. But for this one, it definitely is a problem. Because you end episode 2 saying, this is fucking awesome. I can't wait to see. Because at that point, it feels like, oh, they've assembled our ensemble of main characters. I don't even know if I pronounced that word right, so I apologize. And at this point, we're like, well, now I kind of want to see how their dynamics are going to start forming. They're good characters. They're very interesting. There's weird dynamics at play. I want to see that. And it jumps a little too fast in the future without giving us that. It should be, at that point, doing that. It should be building these character interactions and us learning what are these characters going to be like. That's the next interesting thing to happen, but instead it jumps a little further, and there it does some more jumping, and it's a little... I can kind of see why the rating probably isn't so great. I bet if you took a look at an episode-by-episode rating, episodes 1 and 2 were probably spectacular. Episode 3 is definitely where it started dropping down. Oh well. I might still continue watching that. It's not like I'm given up on it, but at this point, I guess the main problem with doing something like what it did is it isn't giving me the draw that would make me want to keep watching it. Which is interesting, because I just looked at the next thing on the list, and that's Spy Family Episode 4, and talk about complete fucking opposite of this. Episode 4 is awesome. It's scary. Like, when I've had shows that are funny as, where comedy is their main thing, and they manage to make me just gut-bustingly laugh for like 3 or 4 episodes, in my experience, shortly after that, that's when the jokes start getting a little recycled. They don't start hitting quite right. And, in my head, that's like, well, when you have something that begins super spectacularly awesome, when does it peter out? Not in episode 4 of Spy Family. If you haven't seen it yet, the series or the episode, I say prioritize it. It's incredible how the show just manages to make everything work. Our 3 main characters are shining like the Silmaril or something like that. I don't know. They're spectacular. I love them all 3 of them. And some of these other side characters are amusing and entertaining. I can't stop gushing about it. I'm just dreading when the show eventually reaches a point where I'm like, okay, it's run out of things to actually do. But the truth of the matter is, so far it's been so goddamn smart. I mean, episode 2, I went into there saying, oh, I know what they're doing with episode 2, and this sounds like a pretty awkward thing. I don't see how they could get this right. Oh, well, they just set it up so that it would be even more awkward. How the fuck is that working? That worked. It's smooth. It's great. So, I'm loving the series. Spy Family doing a great job. And I think according to my notes, I watched The Greatest Demon Lords Reincarnated as a Typical Nobody, episode 4. Okay, I remembered when I was writing down, like, do I even remember anything that happened there? Part of that could just be all the stuff that's happened between now and then. You know, a lot of Animal Crossing. Ugh. A lot of Dead by Daylight. Ugh. A lot of other good anime. Nice. I do remember they were setting up that thing. Can I talk about that stuff? I think the main problem I have is, while the stuff that's happening isn't necessarily uninteresting, the problem is it doesn't feel like it ties to the core premise of the show too strongly. It's almost feels like it's happening because it's supposed to happen. It's not necessarily bad, but I think, like the rest of the show I mentioned, it's a little average, not necessarily outright engaging per se. So I might continue watching it. I'm trying to think if there's anything specifically I'm like, oh yes, I'm looking forward to seeing this. I don't feel that as strongly. Skeleton Knight, episode 4. I'm mostly just silent because I'm like, can I talk about this stuff without spoiling too much? Because I'm remembering the episode pieces here. I do remember we've been introduced to more characters, maybe not quite as main as some of the characters they've introduced so far. They're building up something. I don't think it feels like end of the world or preventing the end of the world or saving the world per se. Maybe I'm not remembering everything that it could be, but definitely some stuff where it's just like our main character is trying to keep a low profile, and he's doing a much better job of it than the lady from In the Land of Leedale. No, so it doesn't have the interesting family stuff that kind of brought you into In the Land of Leedale, but it is successfully staying at whatever interesting place it kind of is right now. A little slow, but definitely curiosity. Dawn of the Witch, episode 4. Let's see. I think episode 3 I mentioned it felt like it was maybe moving forward a little too fast. Episode 4... yeah, there's something about the pacing that's a little weird. It's not necessarily bad. But, definitely curiosity. For the most part, the characters seem to be pretty fun. I don't know if the events happening they're not bad. They just don't feel as fun as I was hoping I think they would be. And I think this is kind of in line with my estimates for these shows based on the 3 episode marks for all of these respective shows I just talked about, where they're kind of continuing forward, I think, with the general feeling. You know, once again, the 3 episode structure is, or the 3 episode test is proving out to be very reliable, I guess. And then, last but not least, I watched episode 5 of Trapped in a Dating Sim: The World of Atomic Games is Tough for Mobs. Good episode? I mean, did I describe this last time? So, one of the things I found that I really liked, and maybe this is because I had to go past the 3 episode mark, but I think the end of episode 3 definitely got to the point where it's like, that's where this show's going. So it may be a pretty good measure on that 3 episode litmus test as well. But at that point, our main character basically says, "Fuck it, I'm tired of this. I'm doing my own thing." And his attitude was really funny, and his attitude in episode 4 was really funny. His attitude in episode 5 was really funny. Unless it's episode 4 when it happened, I don't know. But I found that if you're watching it and you haven't quite gotten there yet, that's what I found has been the funnest draw so far. Fuck it, I'm doing my own thing now. Just making sure I don't get beheaded. And it's been enjoyable for that. There's thoughts I have on it that I can't really speak out loud because I think they're a little spoiler for y'all, and I want y'all to maybe choose to watch it, but so far, his attitude has been the reason that I've enjoyed watching it. It continues to be refreshing. Not necessarily the greatest thing ever per se, but refreshing. Alright. So anything else? I guess just because it's May, it basically means there's a change in the wildlife. I'm not sure if wildlife is the right term in Animal Crossing. So my second island is catching up on that stuff. I'm continuing to reach the point where, I'm developing the third island. And at this point, though, I'm not sure what my focus is going to specifically be. Maybe I get to worry about that when I go on the trip. Yeah, that's worth talking to y'all about. In a couple of weeks, I'm not sure I can guarantee that I'll have a timely video uploaded, because I'll be on a little trip. But I think the timing for that trip could land me maybe getting something for y'all. We'll have to find out. So when a video is a little bit late, it's probably because, I'm doing a little more traveling than you might have thought. And that is coming up. But yeah, I haven't been aiming to up my star rating of the third island I started. Instead, I've just mostly finished building up the basic infrastructure that I wanted. And I've built some stuff up. But since I'm going for a potentially low flower, low tree island, it pretty much means I need to find out how to not find out how to. I know how to. I just need to spend the time getting my scenery points way up. And that probably just means a lot of DIY furniture, and I have to do it in such a way where similar things aren't overlapping each other. Because, I think if you have an 8x8 area and you have one piece of DIY furniture in there, it's going to add one entire point on its own, which would be the same as a flower if it's a little 1x1. If you have a stall with two things on it, that could be a 3-pointer right there. If you have expensive things, then that can be 4, 5, 6, ridiculously expensive, 7, 8. So you can get a lot of points in a concentrated area. Trees are not that efficient in that regard. It's just that the island begins with so many of them that it makes sense to kind of go with it. But for DIY furniture, as long as in the same 8x8 area you don't have the same duplicate furniture, each DIY furniture should give you the full 1 point, if I'm remembering correctly. So that pretty much means I need to build that up without spamming, because I have a billion Bunny Day lamps, because they're just horrifying, and that's kind of funny. And I think same item doesn't include different customized versions of a thing. So that's been some of my tricks so far, but I haven't reached the point where it's even 3-star again, let alone building up to 4 or 5-star. I don't even know if I'll have the development points I need in order to do all that, but I have to start putting things down. And the trick is I also have some things that I want to put down, but they're definitely development points. I might not need development points until later, so I should probably come up with projects that allow me to do tons of DIY stuff. And this tons of DIY stuff should probably result in lots of unique items in concentrated areas. So that's kind of what I'm aiming for, but I haven't taken the plunge to actually start really thinking about that seriously. For the time being, I can still pump money into the third island because the house is paid off. I just need to start expanding storage. And while I don't need to, it's just really nice to make sure all the storage is there. All that stuff is taken care of. And I just really need to start putting down lots of furniture. Excuse me. For Dead by Daylight, a Pyramid Head is P3 level 50, and I've been putting more levels into him, because at this point, I can just put as much into him as I want to get all the perks on him. This would be all 93 perks, and raised all to tier 3. And I've got 90 of them unlocked on him, but I don't know how many are Tier 3, Tier 2, and Tier 1. So he's probably still not quite there yet. 13th of the month is going to be next week. So I don't have to worry too much about that right now. I guess worry is not the right word. When the next reset happens, I'll get the free blood points for that, and I'll pump them all into Pyramid Head to get him further along this journey that I'm finally going on. With a killer, that's great. I think next is actually going to be Michael Myers. And the reason for that is because he has the best ability to be undetectable. And there's been some tome challenges I haven't done because I want a killer who's undetectable the whole time if I'm going to try to do it. He has a couple of reasons why he would want to try to do it. Yes. Okay, all that stuff. So, he's probably going to be the next one I'll target, just for that reason. That'll be nice to finally have, to be able to do that one challenge. And then I'm not sure who will be after that, but that was just a thought I had earlier today, I think. But I'm still nowhere near Pyramid Head. We did get the update. I don't think that happened. The Legion Chase music is motherfucking rocking. I like the Ghostface music. It does, I agree, sound like your washing machine is going bad, but I kind of like it because of its manic energy. And what else? Lots of little things. Haddonfield, I'm still trying to get used to. I did have a match on that earlier tonight, but unfortunately that Nemesis was tunneling very hard, and he wasn't good enough at Nemesis to make that too big of a worry. Where basically I was able to do funny things like hang around in the second floor of a house that I knew he was chasing somebody else on the first floor because I needed to be within 10 meters of the killer without them discovering me for 30 seconds. Didn't have to be in one match. It could be spread across multiple matches, but I still have to do that. Anyways, it's all been fun. The new tome's going great. That's been forcing me to be Survivor, which is fun. Fine, because I don't have things that would be good to focus on as killer at the moment. I'll figure it all out. Excuse me. That'd be some stuff to think about. But, oh, maybe that killer, I would do it with that killer. Okay. Things to think about. But y'all don't have to be worried with us. I hope this has been a good big update, and y'all have a nice week.